Hey guys, today we're making my garlic fried rice. And for this recipe, it is super easy to make and it's super yummy. What you'll need is some shredded rotisserie chicken, Chinese sausages, sesame oil. I've got sweet onion, garlic, green onion. This is called thum ko in Vietnamese, which literally translates to dried shrimp. I've got soy sauce, olive oil, fish sauce, and we can't forget our can of butter. We've got garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, cayenne pepper, black pepper, a little bit of parsley, mushroom seasoning, and my you name it garlic butter. And we of course have our eggs and our steamed rice. And for toppings, we have crispy fried shallots and chili oil. So the first step you want to do is you want to take your thum ko, your dried shrimp, and you're actually going to soak it in some water. I've got a little bit of warm water here. It can be room temperature, but it is dried, so you want to soak it to rehydrate it a little bit and soften it up. And now it's time for your garlic. I'm using a whole head of garlic here. It is garlic fried rice. And I'm just gonna peel it. I've already done my little trick of throwing it in the microwave so that it's easy to peel. If you guys watch my videos, you already know what I'm talking about. Is it weird that I like the smell of garlic on my fingers? Now that you have your garlic peeled, I have a little mini food processor here. It'll mince my garlic right up, and it's a lot faster to use this than to do it by hand. I'm just gonna throw the garlic right in there. And this is about how fine you want it. Nice and minced. We're gonna set this to the side and we're gonna use this later. It's time for your sweet onion. We're gonna chop this bad boy right in half. I'm only gonna use half an onion because I'm gonna dice this into smaller bite-sized pieces. Onion in Vietnamese is han. This one is called han ngoc, which is sweet onion. There is han giang, which is white onion, and han san, which would be green onion. We're gonna learn Vietnamese with DaGarlicQueen. And we're gonna set this to the side and use it later. And time for my green onion. I always cut off the ends here because I don't want to use it. So I'm just gonna chop that, get rid of it, and cut this piece off here because we're not gonna be using this. And just chop your green onions into small pieces. And we're gonna just set this aside. We're gonna use this later. Chinese sausages. This is called lap suong in Vietnamese. Now, it is called Chinese sausages because that's just what it is. I'm not sure why the translation comes out to be that way. We don't have a name for it in Vietnamese that's other than lap suong, but in English, Chinese sausages. And we're gonna cut these into small bite-sized pieces about this thick. It has a sweeter taste if you've never had this before. It's like a sweet sausage. Actually, I might just use 1.5 here. And we're gonna set this to the side because we're gonna use this later. Now we're gonna mix your dry seasonings in a bowl so that you have it whenever it's time for the seasonings to come in. We're gonna go with some garlic powder, some smoked paprika, a little bit of cayenne, onion powder, and a very little bit of parsley, black pepper. This is freshly cracked black pepper, and mushroom seasoning. We're gonna mix all of this together and set it aside so that when we're cooking our rice, we can just put it right in. I like mushroom seasoning because it's a vegetable seasoning. It's kind of similar to chicken bouillon. I don't use a lot of salt. I don't like salt in my food too much because I feel like there's other options other than just using plain old salt. So mushroom seasoning for all the way. And that's everything you need to prep. Now we're gonna get into the actual cooking. So now we have our frying pan out, we've got our grill. Right here, your dried shrimp. Now it's nice and soft. I love dried shrimp. It has a salty taste to it. We're gonna turn this on. I'd say medium-high heat to begin with. I'm gonna put in some of my you name it garlic butter. It goes really good with fried rice, and you literally can use it in you name it anything. We're gonna let this melt and add in our garlic and our onions. In goes the sweet onion and our minced garlic. The aroma is so fragrant. Nothing's better than garlic. Okay. So the onions are getting translucent, which means it's starting to cook. Now I am going to add in a smidge of olive oil here because we're about to add our dried shrimp in. So in goes the dried shrimp. Smells so good. I turned that heat down a little bit more to medium so that it doesn't burn and overcook. All right, that's been sitting there for about a minute now. It's time to add in your other ingredients. We've got some shredded rotisserie chicken, so that's gonna go directly in there like that. Give it a good stir. Any sausages directly in there. Oh, that garlic is smelling so good. So stir this all in. Everything is pretty cooked already, so you don't have to cook it for too long. Make sure that heat is turned down. Now you're probably wondering, when did the eggs go in? They will be going in now. After you've had your Chinese sausages and your chicken in there for a good minute or two, just stirring occasionally so you don't burn it, we're gonna spread a little spot in the center here. Now this is a trick I learned from my dad and my grandma. This is why their fried rice is so good. You put some of that oil in there. That is where your eggs are gonna go. So directly in there, turn that heat down. We don't want it to burn. 2, 3, and 4. Now after your eggs are in there, we're gonna go ahead, give that a nice quick stir, just to break up the yolk. But then we're gonna go ahead and put our rice in. This is the trick that they taught me. This is how your rice, your fried rice, has a lot of flavor and it's not just plain, is when you put your rice in with your eggs and you mix it up. So the egg coats all of your rice. And if you're thinking, what about chunky pieces? I like chunky pieces of eggs. With that, we're gonna add in more eggs later. But this way, the rice is nicely coated. And also, a lot of times when we make fried rice, it's the next day. So your rice is usually a little dry already, your steamed rice. And this helps that. Look at that right there. So this is how you want it to look. Now we're gonna let that cook. And we're gonna move all of our other proteins into here. And stir everything up really well. You see how your rice is yellow? That's what you're looking for. Because who doesn't love more eggs in their fried rice? And we're gonna let that cook down. And as that's cooking, now it's time to put in the dry seasoning that we mixed earlier. So I'm just gonna sprinkle it right in there. And give that a good mix. It is smelling so good. It smells so good. So I actually have a friend that has dreamed about my fried rice. It's a little ridiculous. This is one of my best friends. She's my business partner. And she, one day, I heard her telling her client, she was like, I had a dream last night and it was about Melissa's fried rice. So this is the fried rice she was talking about. You can see your egg is cooking up into the rice, getting nice and dry there. So now heat is still on low. we're gonna do that same method again, but this time, this is where the fun part comes in. I'm gonna add in some can of butter. A little bit of can of butter there. Then we're gonna crack our eggs in. Let that cook just right in the center there. Give it a good stir. And this will give the chunky egg pieces. I think I've been making my fried rice this way since I was a little kid. Grandma's always made it this way. So does my dad. And see, now we have our chunky egg pieces. We're gonna let that cook down a little bit before we stir it in. Now we give everything a nice light stir. Try not to break the egg up too much. Now, we're gonna add a little bit of sesame oil in there. I love the smell of sesame oil. And my favorite, soy sauce. I use a little bit of soy sauce because I also use fish sauce. Now, fish sauce is a Vietnamese style way of making fried rice. It is not as common, but fish sauce, it gives a more umami flavoring and taste to it. Nước mắm is how you say fish sauce in Vietnamese. And this is what we call nước mắm ba con cua, aka the three crabs fish sauce. I'm gonna add in my green onions. You can leave it at the top. I like to give it a nice stir in there. And that's it. So now, get that nice and crisp up. We're gonna turn off our heat and we're gonna plate it. And as a garnish on top, we've got some fried crispy shallots. I just like that extra crunch. This is my mom's chili oil. She cooks this down for about 2 hours. So it's got all the yumminess of lemongrass and garlic. This is fresh Thai chilies, super clean and fresh. We're just gonna add a little drizzle here. It is very spicy. If you like spicy though, I gotta give you this recipe. And there we have it, my garlic fried rice. Who else has to get right before you eat right? It's time to take a hit out of my handy dandy saber. Look at that laser. Yummy. Now it's time to dig in. It's so good. You guys want some?